Well, hello, class. It is Sunday evening, and I'm doing this lesson for Monday, and we're starting on chapter 7, and that's called Forms of Business Ownership. Forms of Business Ownership, as you can see here. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope y'all um, got to do some kind of version of church today and hear a good message, and just keep your spirits uplifted, guys. I know people probably keep saying that it's not a big deal, but it might be a big deal. I know it's popping up. I'm expecting this week to really start seeing a lot of numbers increase. A lot of more of the people who've gotten tested are coming in, and a lot of things going on. So just be careful. Pray for each other. Do what the government tells us to do, and just pray for safety and for our school and our community, and hopefully we'll be able to get back to school to finish the school year and get you guys walking across that stage. So, but I do hurt for you guys, and keep just saying that. Just it's not a big deal in the big scheme of life, but it's a huge deal right now to you guys, and I realize that. I think we as a school and teachers, we realize that, and we miss you guys. I miss seeing y'all every day. So hope you guys are doing well, and just keep up with the classwork. For the most part, you guys are doing this and getting in on time, and I appreciate that. It makes it a lot easier for me when stuff is turned in when it's supposed to, so I can get it graded. And it's a little different for us now than it was too, so it's different for all of us. All right, well, chapter 7, here we go. Forms of business ownership, and we're going to talk about three main types. And I like it because I'm on page 128. The example of this book's, we used to have the chocolate bars and other chapters. The example of the business start model here is Lola's Lemonade. Lola's Lemonade. So that's what we're going to start with. So if you look around, you got where you are right now. Just look at every object around you. Someone had some kind of entrepreneurship to come up with that. Meaning, somebody had to have an idea, somebody had to have a business model, somebody had to take a risk, somebody had to take a chance to create the products that you are using on the daily basis. And that's the entrepreneurship that we talk about. It's so important in our economy. Um, so here's the question. Once an entrepreneur starts to have an idea and got to figure out what's next, right? We'll just read it off here. Once an entrepreneur has decided to start a new business, one of the most significant decisions he or she must make is what form of business ownership will they use? Okay, will they use? So that's what we're going to go with now. All businesses in the United States, I'm reading on page 128, fall into three categories. First, sole proprietorships, and that's what we're going to talk about first, or partnerships or corporations. Each form of ownership has distinct advantages and disadvantages, depending on such factors as the size of the firm, the abilities of the owner, and the firm's tax situation. So, what you're going to find in this chapter as we go on, just kind of help you study and help you learn as you go, is we're going to learn what each three of those are, what makes them different from each other, and then we're also going to talk about the advantage and disadvantages of each. So, for 7A, for example, our objective is define what sole proprietorship is, list the advantages and disadvantages of it. And once if you can learn this one, learn the advantages of sole proprietorship, it will help you understand the advantages of the partnership. And if you learn that, it will help you understand the advantages and disadvantages of a corporation. So, yes, you're learning three different things, advantages and disadvantages, but at the same time, you're really just feeding off of each other. So, you know what one's lacking, then you'll know what the other one has positive, if that makes sense. So, I hope it does. All right. So, as its name suggests, sole proprietorship is a business that has one owner. Okay, so here are the advantages, and I want you guys to think about it as we go. Okay, well, before you even say that, this is the absolute most popular type of business in America. Okay, 75% of all of our nation's business firms are sole proprietorships. And that's because of the advantages. Okay, so that's what we're going to get into first. First, you have the freedom to enter and exit the market easily. Okay, now what does that mean? Well, nobody answered, so I'll just have to tell you. All it takes for me to start a business, now it depends on what kind of business, is to find a building, put a sign up, and sell stuff. And I'm doing a business. Now, if it's certain type of businesses where it comes to doctors, examples in the book, medical, dental practices, daycare, food handling, stuff like that, then you have to get government approval for certain things, certain regulations and guidelines that you have to meet for certain types. But other than that, all you gotta do is open up a sign. And at the same token, if you want to close, you pay your bills, you pay whatever outstanding bills you have, and you close the business. And there you go. You can enter and exit however you want on your terms, whenever you want. So, that's really the greatest part of sole proprietorship to many people is you have the freedom to do what you want. That's capitalism at its finest. Okay? All right, the second is freedom from outside control. Freedom from outside control. So, does the government have some control? Absolutely. They you have to be accountable for some things, but for the most part, the government is not too concerned. Okay, they're not going to mess with you too much. They're not going to come bother with you. You pay your taxes. You take care of the legalities that you're supposed to, and you'll be fine. So if you don't have special accountability to the government, and you don't have a partner because you're by yourself, then you have the freedom to use whatever methods, entrepreneurship that you see fit, do what with your money. You can go get loans. You can change what kind of business you are in the middle of your business. You can sell different things. You don't have to talk to anybody about it. You can cancel products, change products. You can expand the business. You can change the prices. You can take all the money, I like it says in the book, you can take all the money out of cash register and go on vacation to the Bahamas without anybody having to give you approval. So that's the advantage of sole proprietorship. And I'd be willing to bet that some of you guys, parents, have their own business. And that's kind of part of beauty. You want to close up and go on vacation, go on vacation. If you want to close at 2 and go play golf, you can go close at 2 and go play golf or go fishing or whatever it is. You have all that freedom. And that, I would say that's probably the biggest reason people like sole proprietorship is owning your own business. You hear that term, you want to own your own business, so you can have that freedom to do what you want. Okay? So no special laws, no partners, no shareholders. You don't have to worry about all that. And that keeps your freedom. I know that was fast, but y'all can go back and watch, rewind. Okay. You also have the freedom to retain information. Okay. If you come up with a great idea, you don't have to share it with anybody. It's yours. So you can keep it as a secret. You don't have to share, that technology with people because you don't have a partner or you don't have a board to talk to or whatever. Okay. So the freedom to retain information, and that's a big deal. A lot of people really want that because they don't want their competitors to steal their ideas, or they don't want, if you have a partnership and then once they get the idea, to leave and start their own business using the stuff that your entrepreneurship, your stuff that you came up with. I'm trying to think of a good example of that. It's kind of like the Water Boy. I don't remember the one coach took the Bobby Boucher's coach's playbook forever, even though he came up with all the plays. That wasn't a real good partnership, right? He took it on his own. If you don't have a partner, you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so that's probably a terrible example, but I'm trying. Okay, and the last one is freedom from paying excessive taxes. Okay, all income of sole proprietorship is subject to taxation at the personal income tax rate. So you get to pay your taxes as a personal income tax, not a business tax, which is higher. Okay, it says, while this may not sound like a advantage to you, it's a great benefit to the proprietor. Taxes on corporations tend to be significantly higher than those on personal income. So it keeps your taxes down, and therefore you get to have more money. Okay. So and the last one is freedom from being an employee. Okay. Sole proprietors possess the unique advantage of self-employment. The age-old ideal of individualism, independence, and personal responsibility is most attainable under this form of business. And that's what I said earlier. So clock in, clock out, do what you want. You become how hard you work. So this could be a curse for some people who work extremely hard on their business and it's theirs and they work 80 hours a week instead of 40. Some are able to work 20 instead of 40. So you don't have to be an employee. So those are the advantages, and that freedom, and that word freedom really, that sounds great, and that's what I think most people want out of it is the freedom. All right, but there also are a lot of disadvantages. Okay. So not, becoming one's own boss sounds great, but because it sounds great, a lot of people jump into it without really thinking ahead. And, that's problematic. So here are some of the disadvantages. Okay. One, and this is a big one, unlimited personal financial liability. Remember when I said you only had to pay taxes like your own income, like a household income? Well, that works both ways. Okay, so this is what happens. If you, let's say your business gets sued, somebody comes in, they slip, they fall, they break the neck in the door, you didn't mop the floor, whatever the case may be. You now have the ability to be sued. And not only your business is sued, you are one entity as your business. So therefore, for you to pay back whatever bills you owe or whatever you owe, they can come take your personal house. They can take your car. They can take anything in your bank account for you to settle up. Okay. Because you are one entity. You and your business are one. There's no differential. And that's a big responsibility. Okay. So, and that's a big kind of the, I guess, spiritual emphasis on this part is, let's see, what verse was it? Luke 14. For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Lest haply after he hath laid the foundation is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him. You got to plan ahead and you got to know if you have enough to get it done. And so as a Christian, being a good steward of your money and so you can keep a good testimony is wise and prudent to make sure that you have the funds and you have everything set up. Don't start something you can't finish. And that happens a lot, unfortunately, with these businesses. So you had to have proper mindset and you had to have the proper backing to do it. All right. The second is limited management and employee skills. And there's a nice picture. If you look on the bottom of page 130, when I was at my former school, I felt like that picture a lot with being the athletic director at our school, where there's only one other guy on the whole staff, and there's one. I don't know. It was a smaller school, less administrators, all that. You wear too many hats, and you can see that guy looking for hats, and that's what you are when you own your own business. You have to fill all the roles, and the reality is you're probably really good at one or two of those roles, but none of us are perfect. None of us are great at everything, and the reality is you're probably not as good at some things. Like you might be a very good worker. You might be very good building stuff or whatever the situation is for your business, but you might be terrible talking to people. You might be terrible at marketing and advertising. So, what's it say? It says marketing manager, sales, accounting. Yeah, accounting. Man, there's some people who are smart as all can be, but they cannot manage money for anything. When you have your own business, you're doing all this. A lot of times you'll see in families where the husband will do part and the wife will do part, and that's great because that's really more like a partnership, but legally it's still sole proprietorship. And a lot of times families get involved and they really help each other out, and that's a good way to go too. And we'll get into more of that when we start talking about partnerships. Excuse me. All right, so and here's the other side of that is most proprietors will like to hire people that could fill in the gaps and do those other things well. But it's hard to hire people who are talented and skillful because it costs a lot of money to hire people who are talented and skillful. And you have bigger corporations who are hiring these people because they're able to offer them more money and more incentive packages with healthcare and benefits and insurance, retirement, whatever the case may be. And, as a sole proprietorship, you just don't have that. You don't have that money and that backing to be able to do that. So normally sole proprietors aren't able to hire outside help to the level other corporations are. So that's a big disadvantage for them also. Okay. The third is limited life. And most people don't think about this, but it's really true. Most business, I say most, a lot of them get passed down family wise, but most businesses have a very limited life. The health of the business is just going to go with the health of the owner and the life of the proprietor. If somebody dies young, their business is probably going to die with them. As they get older and they retire, a lot of times their business will retire with them. If they have a successful business, they're able to sell it, and then the life of it goes on. But a lot of times then it changes names or whatever the case may be. So a limited life is basically what happens. A lot of times if somebody does get sick early or something, or they pass away, before people are expected to, then their business is still there. It leaves a lot of issues for the survivors to deal with as well. And the last one is a limited availability of money. Okay, so here's the deal: when you're by yourself, you have to go to the bank, and your go to bank as a person, and you might have an idea of a business, and you're an entrepreneur. It's hard to get a business loan because what's the bank have to weigh? The bank has to weigh: are you able to pay me back? So banks are, as the screen says, wary about lending money to sole proprietorships because they don't have to, they're not like, well, I don't know if this business is going to work, and they're putting their money out there. So even if you do get a loan, you're probably going to get it at a very high interest rate because the bank has to make sure they're getting their money back. And a lot of times the creditor or lender, I think that's on page 131, the creditor, that's a vocabulary word. They got to determine the probability of you paying them back or not. So usually they're reluctant to lend money, and the only way normally they're able to do this is if the sole proprietor is going to put up a big down payment, or excuse me, not down payment, but their house. They have to sign over their deed or some type of collateral to give the bank assurance that they're going to get paid back. Once again, it goes back to what we said earlier. You're liable. The liability is on you personally for sole proprietorship. So that's the first section of this. So here's the goal. You guys should be watching this on Monday. We're going to do 7B Tuesday and 7C Wednesday and some Thursday and maybe a little review Thursday. And we're going to have another quiz on Friday. Okay. And then you guys will have spring break for a week, and we won't do anything but hopefully rest, and you guys stay in, and hopefully this thing will pass by and we'll know exactly what we're dealing with. I think by the end of the week we're going to have a good idea of are we going to be as serious as possibly. If you guys are like me or your parents are and reading a lot there's so many different conflicting reports, and reality is nobody knows, but reality is it's here, and it is around, and the numbers sometimes are skewed, but just talking to you from a loving standpoint, there's a lot of people who have been sick who hadn't got tested. There are a lot of people who have gotten tested that reports haven't come back yet. And so we don't even know when the numbers go up. Are they going up because it's spreading? Or are they going up because people are finally getting tested? But either way, we need to pray about it. Like I said, pray for each other, pray for our community. Okay? So, and I said that. Yep. And, there's the picture. All right, so here are our section review questions. What are the advantages of a sole proprietorship? Well, we just listed all those. What are the disadvantages? We just listed all those. So make sure you know those two things. That will definitely be on your quiz somehow on Friday, and you have to compare and contrast somewhat between the next one, which is partnership. I'm also going to try to figure out how to link a Bob Jones lesson. They have released some lessons to try to help with the teachers who are homeschooling. Obviously, I'm not going to rely on that. I feel like I want to see you and interact with you guys, but I'm going to attach some every now and then, and just to switch it up, let them teach the lesson, which will be very similar way to do it. But once again, I hope you guys are doing well. Make sure you guys are keeping up with your work. If you have a problem, if somebody's sick, or if you're out of town, or you're having a problem getting work in, please just contact me, okay? Miss you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Good night.